So, Ollie, last season, 64 positions gained across the year. I mean, with a grid being split by just over a second, that's quite impressive to do that consistently across the season.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't without falling out with a few people, to be honest. But yeah, no, it's interesting. I think always with Formula E you see a huge amount of overtaking, some more spectacular than others. But no, it was a good season for that. I think I put in quite a good, consistent range of overtaking without getting in too much trouble. But yeah, it was a pretty good year.
And what's the relationship between race engineer and driver like to enable you to make those positions up? How does that work?
It's for me to answer, I guess.
Yeah.
I think most of it is prior to the start of the race. So before the start of the race, we've got some kind of numbers that are key, and the driver's free to navigate on track to try and achieve what we planned before the race. I think that's what matters the most, is that we respect what we planned before the race while trying to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, so we have like corners, right, for example, where it's more efficient to pass, and times in the race and places that we need to be in terms of energy management when we want to kind of go on the attack. And I think that was probably key, and what I did quite well last year was building up that buffer to be able to attack in a good way and a way that made lots of positions. I think what we do as like a collective team, obviously we plan it and then I have to kind of execute it, I guess.
Well, actually, that reminds me of when you were on the added lap, and I remember you saying something along the lines of like you had people coming up to you asking, you've come back to Nissan, and was it just luck that you were now this good? But ultimately, I feel like it's that race engineer-driver relationship that's so important in making those positions up. It's not just luck.
No, there's a lot of planning, I think, that goes into. At first, I thought it was luck. I'm not going to lie.
You have to answer this.
When I was flying from the back to the front, there was like, that won't keep happening every weekend, and then somehow it did. So I think, yeah, hopefully we make it a bit easier this year and start a bit more towards the front, and don't have to do as many overtakes.
Actually, what from both of your perspectives makes a good driver-engineer relationship? Feels a bit like couples therapy when I say this.
I think the most important thing is the trust. Like when we say something to each other that we know it's something needed, or the accuracy of the answer, I think is important. It's also important to be able to laugh at some point when we're all stressed out during the race. I think that changes a few things.
What about for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is trust and understanding and knowing how each person takes. It takes time. It's not something that you can just manufacture overnight. I think understanding what makes someone tick. For example, if one day I'm not happy, he might have to give me a bit of leeway, or one day he might have to tell me, come on, snap out of it and sort your whatever out. But it's about learning, understanding people, and I think the biggest thing is trust. When you ask something, knowing that the right answers come in and the way it's kind of interpreted is very important.
And maybe for people who don't know, can you explain a bit of what factors play into race strategy? What actually are you guys looking at to decide what the strategy is? Very basically.
We've been doing that all day.
Yeah, true. In Formula E, I think the number one thing is the energy. So where you stand compared to the other cars around. Obviously this year the attack mode is more powerful than it was before. So that will change also a few things because it will be easier to overtake. So yeah, that's the most important ones we look at, and then just arriving at the right time of the race with the right amount of energy is what we trained for the week before already. And also here, just planning stuff. But the race is always a different scenario than anything you've planned before. So you kind of need to focus on the key numbers and try to achieve what you plan, even if the scenario is going to be different than anything you've thought about before.
I think what's actually really important, we haven't mentioned, is like when you have an idea that you stick to it. It's very easy to like not be too sure and be a bit split. And I think that's one of the worst things. I've had it a lot where I've been on the grid in the past and I'm really in two minds, and somehow I get through lap one and then I almost know like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And you try and go in half-half, and most of the time I don't think it works.
And ABB's Engineered to Outrun award will reward drivers for being brave enough to make those moves and their engineers to help them get there. Do you have any tips or tricks up your sleeve for the Gen 3 Evo to help you be back here next year with the award again?
I guess qualify badly and race
well. Exactly, yeah. Start from the back.
But that's always the most enjoyable, to be honest. As a racing driver, apart from starting first and winning, starting from the back and being on the podium is also like a very enjoyable experience. So I would prefer to start first and finish first, but if I'm here with a championship win next year, I'll be happy.